to interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Warning: the following program contains explicit language and mature content. It is not meant for the easily offended. So if you are an emotional pussy, please refrain from listening. Thank you and enjoy.
Back at it, the Words on Fire podcast. Your boy Cujo riding solo this week. In remembrance, well, not remembrance, I guess in celebration of what brings everybody together, what brings men to do stupid things and women to flaunt even more, which is Halloween. I thought, what better way to kick off the holiday weekend with two of my favorite ladies that I haven't talked to in fucking forever. One goes by the name of Kimmie, and the other one goes by the name of Didi. Ladies, how are y'all?
Hello.
Dude, so for those of you that have been with us since the beginning, Kimmie was... Shit, you were like on episode 8 or something.
I don't know.
We have one of the very beginning. And now we're on 197, wow. I think it is. And Didi, I think you were right before we hit the hundreds.
I think so.
Yeah, because both of you were at the 100th celebration when we had the beer that we launched or whatnot.
That was fun.
Wow, that was a blackout night.
That was fun.
Yeah, my boy Jules blacked out, and I don't know what happened.
I just remember we talked forever that day.
Dude, it was a 3-hour podcast.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and I don't know what the fuck we talked about.
Right.
That was the scary part. Like, I haven't gone back to listen to it because I don't like to listen to my own voice because it's a little spooky to me. You know what I mean? I don't like the way I sound in my head. But nonetheless, how the hell have you ladies been?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Y'all look beautiful than ever, man.
Thank you.
I was like, y'all keep on getting younger and I keep on getting older. So what's this witchcraft you ladies are doing?
It must be the season of the witch,
Right?
So Halloween.
Yes.
What exactly is why do we celebrate Halloween? Do you know?
Yeah. Do you know, Didi?
Yes. So
tell the history.
There is
History Channel.
Well, there's a lot of different origins, both pagan and Christian, that celebrate this week as a thinning of the veil, where the world of the beyond, of those that have passed on, have come to visit. Those of us, as some of you may know, I am intuitive. I can be a medium as well. I have, my dreams are ridiculous.
Jeez.
These kinds of these days.
Yeah.
We actually kicked off the I wouldn't call it a holy week, but some of these festivities start day before yesterday on the 26th is when our pets and our animals cross over. And Halloween is actually All Hallows Eve. So the 1st is the day, November 1st is the day that we celebrate our past ones coming back onto this plane to visit.
That's the Day of the Dead, right?
Dia de los Muertos, exactly. So the 1st is All Saints Day, and that is when the infants and canonized saints come back. So it starts, there's like a whole week actually of festivities, and it's just a very thin veil, or it's a time even just of remembrance, to remember our loved ones. And so a lot of the times that's where it is safe to celebrate, because it just gives us a designated time to remember those who have passed on.
Right.
A lot of people set up altars to welcome them. And in Halloween, especially in the Western world, we dress up to scare off the evil or the more malignant spirits. And that's why we would dress up for Halloween.
To scare them off.
Exactly. And that's the jack-o'-lanterns and all of that.
Okay. And in the words of Mean Girls, Halloween is the only night of the year where women can dress like sluts and not get judged for it, right?
Dude,
exactly.
So that's like the best time ever.
It is.
Why is that? Like, why is that a thing? Like, why just dress however? It doesn't matter. I mean, because you're still gonna get judged. You know, I mean, you could dress as whorish as somebody wants to and be like, oh, I'm whatever. I'm Barbie or whatever, but it's like they're still going to be like, "Do you see that whore? It was Barbie."
Right.
Like it's not going to change. Like, what does it matter?
But there's something so liberating in even if it's one night a year to just be something that is outside of your comfort zone, or to be something that, I mean, it's fun,
Right.
period, like why make it something so dramatic when it's just fun?
Yeah.
I think you're right. Like socially, it's something where everyone just kind of put down their judgment a little bit, especially for us younger, the younger crowd. We like to dress. I love to dress up ever since I was a kid, and
Really?
being a theater nerd, I would come up with some outrageous costumes that weren't scary or anything. It was just a costume.
Right.
And I think now, especially in the Western world, we do have the influence, like the cosplay took off really, and cosplay used to start with Halloween and dressing up, and now there's a lot of subgenres that dress up all the time. It started with the goths, I think.
Okay.
And it starts with like all these the punks would dress up all the time. It's just like things that you would create your own outfit. So I think Halloween just kind of appeases all that crowd.
Yeah.
Where you can be creative and people aren't being as judgy.
Right.
I think.
So for Halloween, what are y'all dressing up as for Halloween, or what have you dressed up as for these parties that everybody's having?
Oh my gosh. So this year I wasn't even going to, but my boyfriend wanted to, so he wanted to be a knight. So I was like his dirty wench, right?
Okay.
So that was fun. But normally, like my past costumes, I feel have been pretty. I did a Drew from Clockwork Orange once. I did.
Oh shit.
Salma Hayek,
Oh my
Santánico.
goodness.
I could see
Remember
that.
that one?
Yes.
That was a good one.
I
And
could see
then
that.
Didi did a Prince, which was pretty badass. Remember that?
Prince. Yes. Remember we were Jade versus Chun-Li?
Yes.
There's video.
We did Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
I remember
I
those.
mean, we go all out. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
I was Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
As well.
Hulk Hogan. Oh shit! I
Yes.
could see that. Did you do the voice and everything?
I did, and I was working at the club that night,
Yeah.
and I got the
Yeah.
DJ to play the bell and
Yeah.
announce me, and I Am a Real American came on,
Oh shit!
and I could have died that day. I almost cried walking
Right.
onto the stage. It was
All her
This is
5-year-old young girl dreams came true.
It was so surreal.
It was like
Did it play all the way through?
It
course.
did.
Did you
and I
dance the
did
whole way through?
Yes,
Oh.
I did. It was just. It was.
You had to do the leg drop. Did you do the leg drop
I
to finish it
couldn't,
off?
Not in the 8-inch platforms.
Everything is possible.
But I did get a guy slap a 20 on the stage and say, "How about a dance, brother?" To which I replied, "Only if you say your prayers and eat your vitamins."
Oh shit! You're in full Hulkster,
You don't need what you gonna do,
right?
Good times.
Stay in that character, right?
It was beautiful. It was awesome.
So,
Awesome time.
since you're a historian on all things Halloween,
Oh.
as soon as I know we had Halloween, and I know the conversations that we've had before, I was like, dude, I gotta get these girls on. With the Day of the Dead, right? The altars that people make. I was seeing if you could give me some clarification, because I know we're supposed to put pictures of just the people that have passed, right?
Yeah.
If we put a picture of, say, somebody, like, say my uncle passed, and I have a picture of myself and my uncle, is that a bad thing to have us
No.
both on there?
No.
Because I've heard...
The altars. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, because I've heard that if you put somebody who's living, you're actually accelerating their time to go back and meet who's ever on that picture.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what
I can see
kinda
where that
heard.
would be a superstition on some altars. It really depends on your intention. And when you're dealing with anything pagan, especially intention, and anyone who is super religious and knows how to do prayer, your intention is everything. You can't just blurt out the prayer and it's going to come true.
Right.
When you manifest or when you want something, it's with intention. So what I understand an altar to be, especially for those who are not into creating altars, is just a place, a safe place for you to represent the relationship between you and your other, and a place to welcome them. So things that they would like, if they drank coffee, you'd prepare it for them,
Okay.
different sweets. I got one for my dog, Johnny Cash, may he rest in peace, the love of my life. And I put his favorite treats out. I have his ashes there. I have his ball, his things. And I do have pictures of us just to make it more welcoming, that he knows that he's in the right house, because it's
Right.
the tradition is to lead them. There used to be flowers and candles from their gravesite leading all the way to the home. And this
Okay.
was in smaller pueblos. I can't do that now. Right? Imagine Evergreen Cemetery all the way to the northeast. That's a long journey. But just a place of welcoming. So if that picture is something that beloved is beloved for you and your other, then that is definitely something that should go on your altar. There are superstitions that, you know, you can't put anything else, and that you shouldn't put that altar has to be completely, kosher or immaculate. It has to be like consecrated. Depends on how intense you're celebrating.
Yeah.
But I think with your intention is just to bring in that love, and that's all that's going to be.
Yeah, because I know my significant other was thinking about doing one, and she was asking about a picture of, can't remember if it was my grandpa or it was one of my family members that passed, and I was thinking, I don't have one of just, that was my grandma. I don't have one of just my grandma. Like recently, it was always, you know, my grandma and myself, my grandma and my mom, or my grandma and my daughter. And I was like, dude, then I heard that superstition. I was like, well, I don't want to put any of these guys. I don't want to hurry any of these guys in.
Right.
So like, I'd rather just.
Well, you can
not.
Photoshop something. You can take her face out and then put, you know, then you do the clouds or whatever. You can Photoshop that out, or you can omit the photo altogether and just have aspects of hers. So if you have something that belonged to her, something that was handed down to you, that was of hers or from her home, that should suffice as well. The sempacholi flowers or the marigolds are a must. Candles, if you want to light candles in a safe way, you can. Incense, but it's really just little offerings and just however you would greet them if they came to your home now.
Okay. Crazy. So I know you're a medium, right? Not an empath.
I'm an empath, yeah.
An empath also. Okay. Because last week, 2 weeks ago. No, yeah, 2 weeks ago, my co-host and I, Jules, we want to go do a ghost tour with the El Paso Ghost Tour.
Those are
ghost
so
tours.
fun.
Yeah,
those are so fun.
You know, Leon and Art, shout out to them who are doing this all year. We went to, you know, we started off in front of Mills, and then, you know, they take us throughout El Paso downtown, give us a whole, you know, history recant about everything that's happened downtown, everything that,
Did you do the brothel
going
one?
on. No, I've done that one before.
That's fine.
I've done that one before, and that's another company. That's 915 Ghost Tours.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, I did that one at first, and I didn't see anything there, and I was kind of, you know, and I kind of alluded to it on the last podcast. You know, you're in there, you're doing, you know, you're like, hey, we're gonna summon the spirit or whatever. So, you know, you ask questions. And everybody's like, oh, you know, you could download an app and you could find. I was like, well,
like the voice box or the.
No, it's just an app to show if it's like if it pings yellow,
Like the
there's
energy
a
levels?
yeah.
Oh, okay. I have seen.
Yeah, so I was like, dude, I don't know how accurate, because any app can fool you to do whatever, right? You know what I mean? If I'm the master of the app, I can put everybody that's here. All right, y'all got to go into my login and
text parts.
Yeah, so I was like, come on, you know what I mean? It's like whatever. So when I was there, you know, I was being the asshole. I yelled out, "Is this shit real? Is these motherfuckers trying to rob us?" You know, because it's a good idea or whatever.
And then you heard, "Get out!"
No, I heard nothing. I was like, "All right, all right." So I was whatever. So when we went with Art and Leon, they took us all around. It was our second time because we had met him like a few days before, and he gives an individual for Jules and myself.
Oh, nice.
And we did a whole thing. Then we ended up at the Gateway Hotel in the basement.
Oh shit!
Fucking something pushed me.
Get the fuck
Straight out. So the way we were set up, the basement's huge, right? So towards, like, say right where Kimmie would be, right? That's where I was. In the back corner, that's where the stairs would be to go up. So I was right there, and Jules was right here, right about where your hat was at. And the guy who was running it, we're doing the voice box, and the spirit box is what it's called.
Spirit box, yeah.
And it's crazy because you hear voices. We heard like 8 different voices. They're saying there's like 12 different spirits or entities that they've come across. So yeah, you hear it from anything from a little girl, some cholo is what, because this dude was offering, what was it, a Jack Daniels, and he got mad. He said that's not what he wanted. He was like, yeah, I know you wanted Schlitz, but I can't fucking find Schlitz.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I can't find fucking Schlitz here in El Paso. So towards the end, Leon was like, hey, if you're here, we got 2 guys at the back pointing at us. He's all, you know, poke him in the butt. And I was like, this motherfucker. And he said that, and I look at Jules, and we start looking at Leon. Something pushes me right here in my back. Wow. Swear to God. And at the same time, Jules said that he felt 2 fingers poking him in the middle of his back. And like he and I both reacted at the same time. I thought it was him. He thought it was me.
Yeah.
And Jules' significant other was there with us. Turned around, looked at both of us like, are you guys fucking around? I was like, dude, like, who the fuck hit me? Like, there's nobody behind us.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. this is fucking crazy,
That's pretty
right?
cool.
That's like the most,
Yeah.
like, and I've always been a believer. I just haven't seen anything.
Right. You haven't felt anything.
Yeah, but now that I fucking got hit, I was like,
Right.
you motherfucker better not come home with me. I'm going to tell you that right now. Have you ever had any encounters, Kimmie?
Well, I feel like I believe in science, right? So
Okay.
I'm a pretty logical person, right? But I'm also not oblivious to things that are obviously outside of the realm of logic and understanding, right? But I also contribute culture to it. We all grew up, raza, we all have the haunted grandmother's house, right?
Yep. The Jesus picture. The Jesus picture
we
that
all
follows you
have
everywhere.
we all have those stories that are ironically the same
Yeah.
about our haunted neighborhoods and stuff. So I kind of genuinely like to kind of investigate a little bit more before I start to believe. But I remember an incident when I was about 5 years old. And my grandparents used to like to set up this, I don't know if your grandparents ever did this, but they would like throw out the concha or what is it called? The mattress or whatever. Anywhere, conchon or whatever, right? And then the kids would lay there and they'd, nap or whatever and all that stuff. So they did that. And I remember I was really cheap, right? So I would sleep in between them and I was 5 years old and my mom had gone out. And I remember I had heard the front door open and I had seen who I thought was my mother come in. And she kind of just walked straight across the living room. And I remember very vividly, like it was yesterday. This is kind of cliche, but she was all in black.
Right.
And she walks in and it went from carpet to tile back to carpet. And I remember taking note of that for some weird reason, which, later on in the story, it'll make sense. But she just kind of walked in and then walked to her bedroom. And it must have been like no more than 30 seconds later, the front door reopens and it's my mother in a really white, this was like the 80s, so a very 80s party dress, right?
Yeah.
And she actually took the time to stop and peek in and see how I was doing, if I was asleep. And I remember looking up and seeing her feathered hair and her 80s dress. And then she walked from the carpet and I heard her heels on the floor.
Clicking.
And then I heard her go into her room. Didn't think about it, didn't question it. I'm a 5-year-old kid.
Right.
I don't know the fucking difference, right? So flash forward as 16 years old and my grandparents are telling these stories like they always did, right? And la mujer en el vestido negro, right? The lady in black. And I remember just sitting there, chilling with my family and hearing my grandma describe her. And I was like, it took almost 11 years for me to realize that I saw the mujer en negro, right? And I thought it was my mom the whole time. And I just remember being freaked out. And I was like, okay, that's not cool.
Did you sleep there still?
No, I didn't actually. Luckily I was gone by then.
Yeah.
But, there's some creepy shit that happened in my grandparents' house.
That's got to be, that's here in local in El Paso?
Yeah. Oh, Central.
That's the
Come
Central.
on.
Yeah.
Central.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know
That's,
how
that's all the crazy shit happens in Central.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Well, that's the oldest part of El Paso.
is,
I mean,
yeah.
it's the most historical part, so there's
Yeah.
bound to be some shit that goes down. What's the scariest encounter that you've had since you're an empath?
There's a few. So I was doing some ghost hunting, and it just got to be a little labor intensive with all the data and video that we would take because it was a small group, and on top of the empathic, it was just so heavy to do on part-time, so I don't do it as much. But I did realize that I am like a human EMF detector.
Okay.
So are you familiar with EMF, electromagnetic fields? And they can be dangerous to people. I get really sick and nauseous around them. With the group that I was with, we were reading the Clear Channel Station building. And we went, it's like a figure 8, if you will. The hallways are in a figure 8. And I did some EMF in the bathroom where they had claimed to have a lot of activity. And I spoke with something there. A male. It was confirmed. Some of their stories were confirmed. Unfortunately, a lot of what's going on with Clear Channel is that they have those antennas and they have a lot of radio equipment that makes it feel more creepy than it is. And where they have a lot more activity, there's a radio, like an old-timey radio that one of the office personnel really like. And you can tell it's one of those, I guess they saw it on Instagram or something. It's like an old-timey looking radio, and it's plugged into the wall. And it sounds kind of squawky, but they play the Clear Channel radio stations on it, and they leave it on 24/7. And there was so much activity around this area, which is really cool. Also, where there's more running water, there's more activity.
Okay.
So that's like energy pulling. That wasn't really scary, but I did do a cleansing on this 2-level building, and I had been given the okay by the owner of the building, which is when I do a cleansing of a building, I need to get the okay from the person who owns it.
Right.
And then I ask them about what they want me to do with the end of the year, or what they would like.
Mm-hmm.
And they just said that the employees at this business couldn't really focus on their work because they always felt that something was watching them. And I said, okay, they would hear some people walk by.
Right.
It was just creeping everybody out, and they were more curious than afraid.
Right.
So I had gone during the day to get this okay, and then I went back that evening, and I remember the owner of the building having a few last-minute chit-chats, with his employees, talking business. They were kind of off to the side of me, and I was given this little table on the bottom level to set up my incense and set up my cards and just trying to arrive, right? Because I do have to put up a big mask when I go out a lot. So I get there, and I'm wearing this long summer dress, and it's white. And I had my head, just before I put my head wrap on, I could see things on my table that I was setting up shifting. Mm-hmm. And I just thought maybe it was the AC hitting them. But then my, I forgot what it was. It was either my incense stick or something that fell over. Okay. And some things fell on the floor, and I went to bend over to pick them up. And in my rib cage, the back here, I felt like a burning sensation. I was scratching at it, and I even kind of scratched the other side thinking, where's the tag? Because I'm really sensitive to tags, and I'm thinking maybe that was it or whatever. Right. But it's this beautiful cotton gown. There was nothing there. Mm-hmm. And I started to get woozy, and the burning kind of wouldn't go away. So I was trying to talk to the owner because I needed him to come with me as I was doing the read through of the house, of the building. And I decided to let him finish his conversations, and I went to the bathroom, and I had to lift up my skirt, his long floor length maxi gown. And I had 3 scratches on my back.
Oh, shit.
And I thought, oh, fuck, I hope that's not what I think it is. And I was like, yeah, that's not it. And so I was trying to go back to my little station there and light my incense, and it wouldn't light. Mm-hmm. And I would say things like, look, I've been given the okay to cleanse, and I just need to know who you are, and I'm not. They didn't want me in there. That's they were afraid, right. And I finally get the owner's attention. I said, hey, I'm going to show you something, and I just need to know if it's what I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. And so I had to kind of bare my ass to this guy and lift my, and he's like, oh shit, who scratched you? And I said, okay, all right. Cause it was kind of in a place where I couldn't really see it. And I was like, okay. And I was like, and how many can you see? He's like, there's 3 lines. Right. And I said, okay. I said, whatever's here doesn't really want me to, what do you want me to do with this thing? He's like, I just don't want it, bothering people. Mm-hmm. And so sure enough, I do a sweep of the building, and it really liked the upstairs, but it really liked that these people who rented space at the building were creative types. Okay. That there was a lot of activity. The building before used to be they used to receive all the video feed from surveillance, like a surveillance company. Mm-hmm. And this person actually died in the building alone after a lot of family trouble. In depression, they just stayed watching videos, and they took more time at their work. And they were very lonely. Mm-hmm. And that's what they were telling me, that he just didn't want to be lonely anymore. And I said, cool, dude, but that means you can't be breathing down people's necks and help people out. You don't make us feel uncomfortable here, Right. So that kind of, I told the crew was just a bunch of creative artists, and I said, look, dude, if you feel something, just talk to him like normal. Hey man, you're creeping me out, or hey, good night, Bob, or whatever. Build your own relationship with him. Yeah, exactly. And so that the crew took very nicely to that, and they all relaxed. But it was really, really afraid, and I could tell that this person did have probably alcoholism or other types of depression and self-damaging vices. And so I think that's where the anger came from. He had what I could see was that he had like been kicked out of the home or rejected from coming back home. So he didn't want to get kicked out of there.
Right. You don't want to keep getting the rejection.
Yeah. And I felt so bad for him. So I didn't ask him to leave or anything, but.
Is this the Clear Channel? Is it the current location they're at, or is it the one they were at before, the one that used to be on Piedras?
No, the Mesa location.
Okay. Yeah. Because I was at the one at Piedras. Now, I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember ever seeing anything there. I remember being drunk there a lot. I don't remember seeing or hearing anything. But I know. Yeah, when they left to Mesa, I got fired or whatever. they let me go. They let me go
like a ghost.
All right, man, you got to go. So when you're cleansing, right? Like where? So I know you asked, like, what do you want me to do with this? What are the options to do with the entity? Like, what can you do?
Well, first we do an assessment of what is going on, because sometimes we like to debunk, and if we don't have to do anything, we won't. That's just kind of a waste of energy. Sometimes people, if they find out that it's a distant relative, they don't want them gone.
Right.
But other times they do want them gone. I have outsourced some of the larger projects to a psychic medium that I know. She's just stronger than I am, I think, at it. And I think if I put more effort in, I could develop this skill. But it's something that I'm more of a novice at, like the bigger, harder, more demonic entities. And I'll assist by just holding the incense or holding the, just assist and help with the intention, help with the energy, and support whatever they're feeding out. But you send them away. You can't destroy them, and they are still energy. It is science. You can't control. You can't create or destroy energy. So you have to displace it. You have to banish it from that area, and you have to let them know to go to a light. You kind of have to Ghostbusters them, like just out of the area. And the people, the inhabitants' intention has to change as well. And that's what I like to work with. I like to work with people kind of getting their energy straight and not bringing this stuff back into their home, or not welcoming these kind of energies back into their home that can harbor.
Right. They could go
I mean, have you ever walked into a room and you can cut the tension with a knife, or you've been around somebody and you feel like you just ran a marathon?
Oh, my ex-baby mama. Right. Every time I saw her, I was like, this fucking bitch. She's definitely evil.
Yeah.
I need to cleanse the fuck out of her.
Obviously, energy is real. Whether we're talking about spirits, not spirits, I mean, energy is very real. Right. So can you imagine being in a home with someone who's going through depression or through anger or through trauma, and there's violence in the home as well, and then something tragic happens? Of course it's going to be stuck there. And you're like, come on.
Yeah, it can resonate. And when I do cleansings, I like to focus on that pile of laundry that's been collecting for months. I like to focus on those like darker corners where the energy, just like dust bunnies, will pool.
Right.
We walk in and we shake all that off, and it's good to practice, not just wiping your feet at the door, but letting go of a lot of energy that might attach to us.
Is there anything we can do, or better yet, is there anything we can say? Do you think that we can release some of that shit before you bring it home? Because everybody goes through shit, right? Especially when you're not your own boss and you're working at somewhere. It's F this guy and this guy, that I had this other person. Like, what can you do to leave that shit outside of the house? Is there any kind of like sayings or anything that we can do just to cleanse ourselves?
I like to picture, like, when I stop my feet and wipe my feet at the door, that I'm like literally just shaking off this energy. Just shake it off, leave it at the door. I don't really say anything, but you can create anything that you want that's going to help you envision that just shaking that off, because you can say it, but if you're not really intending it, you're just saying it, just like you said, fuck that guy.
Right. Just
you don't mean that. You're just saying it. So I would really just do that extra step and just really picture in your head shaking off.
You have to practice gratitude.
Yeah,
absolutely. You wake up every morning, you have all your mental capacities. You have a job, you have your family. Just gratitude, practicing gratitude. I mean, I think that's a huge difference on bringing something home or not, right? So,
what if your family is a problem? Sometimes I get
what
here.
If they're already in the house?
Well,
I can't get them out. I can't get these guys out. I tried.
Well, I always say it. Sometimes, this was told to me many moons ago, and I held on to this, and I actually tell a lot of people this. But sometimes you're not depressed. Sometimes you're not anxious. Sometimes you're not mentally ill. Sometimes you just live with an asshole.
Shit.
Sometimes that's what it is.
Yeah, maybe
Look at your environment.
Maybe it's me. Shit, that's not good. Now you got me doubting myself now. Fuck, I don't think I have to take a minute. You got some of that sage or something?
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness. Got to cleanse myself.
Yes.
So is that is that what the sage is for? To help cleanse, I guess, the negative energy?
Yeah.
Is that mainly what it is? Or
Sage
is it?
has been used for ages as a cleansing agent for the air and the ambience around us. Studies have shown that smoked sage and other smokes from herbs will attach themselves ionically to the microbes in the air and weigh them down enough so that we don't breathe them. So technically it does work. You do want to have an open window, something to take all that stuff out. So you want to have a draft, something you don't want to just piss it off and leave it in the same room. You want to air it out.
Right, so go down.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: when you came in today, did you? Because I know, like you said, you feel people's energy or whatnot. Did you feel anything demonic, anything crazy up in here in this area? Or are we
No,
good?
just your little gremlin outside. He's adorable.
That's my Johnny Cash.
Yeah, he's
That's my Johnny
adorable.
Cash.
He's adorable.
Damn, all right.
I believe in the feng shui, and walking in, everything was so clean and spacious.
Yes.
And for me, that clears up any type of any anxiousness or any type of negativity that I've ever felt whenever I walk into a nice, clean, clear space. So I always tell people, if your room is cluttered, your mind is cluttered. So that's what I felt right away, was just the openness of everything. I like.
It's really inviting.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
Well, that's something.
And the mirrors really do help too, because the mirrors push the energy around.
Really?
Because that's your reflection, it gets pushed around. So the fact that you can stand so many mirrors, it means that
and we're conceited, so.
Absolutely, yeah. There's just good vibes every time I look into a mirror.
Yeah, you guys are good looking into the mirrors. Me, not so much. Not so much a fan. I just see they're right there
He's
everywhere.
creeping around the corners.
Yeah, I gotta walk quickly. Yeah, because I know when we were finishing up at the Gateway Hotel, again, the El Paso Ghost Hunters, it's super cool cats. When we're finishing up, I guess they call whenever they have 2 empaths, and when they're down there, they're getting headaches while they're around, I guess, the energy and whatnot, and it's called, I guess, being zapped is what they were saying it was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they're like, hey, what? So they left the room. There's actually an older lady that was there. She said she was very, I guess she's open to the entities or whatnot. So she was feeling sick as well. So they escorted her out of the basement. So when they were finished and we were wrapping up and we were talking, they're asking, I guess, because there was a group of 6 people that work with Leon. 4 of them were like, hey, you know what? I've been zapped too much. I need a cleansing. So Art was out there with the saging them, and I guess he says a little ritual. I'm not sure what he said. I didn't want to. I don't know if it was good if I were to walk in and be like, hey, what? You know what I mean? I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to.
Yeah.
At the same time,
interrupt.
Yeah. At the same time, I'm inside this hotel, and and again. So when we were there, we're wrapping up. So at the end, we sit. Hey, how this is cool. For the show, we want to talk about this and that. And as we're talking like this, behind us, there's the counter, I guess, a check-in counter. Nobody's back there. There's nobody in here. Like, everybody's, I guess, out. Jules and I heard a fucking water bottle fall, right?
Nice.
And I look at Jules and he looks at me. He's like, did you? I was like, yeah. But Leon and one of the people in his crew, they just keep on talking. I was like, wait. We're not going to mention that a fucking water bottle fell out of nowhere. Yeah. And they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh, hell, no. I was like, you're going to bring that sage? You got to get all of us because this shit ain't right. You got to acknowledge that some shit happened, right? Yeah, like something's you got to acknowledge some shit. And these guys are telling us. So the hotel is actually still functional. Okay. It's a, I guess from what they were telling us, it's a hotel that's rented nightly or hourly.
Sweet.
So it's one of the it's one of those bang bang rooms.
Nice.
And it's pretty crazy. We saw some people coming out. I was like, yo, I know what you're doing. Dirty birdie.
Nice.
But it's interesting. But again, like I said, one of the things you were saying is that downtown, there's not a single building downtown that isn't haunted in some way.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
And it's pretty fucking crazy. Have you heard of the underground park?
I've heard of the tunnels. Is that what you're talking about?
No, so there's the tunnels, and then there's an actual park that used to be there. Before it's about a block south of where San Jacinto's at. So back in the days, the way the roads were at that area, they came down. So every time it rained, that shit would get flooded. It didn't stay there. So there was actually a park that was there, and can't remember what year he said it was. Or one of the years he said that they just had enough of it. So they started building upwards so that way you could level it out. But they never destroyed the park. They kept it there. So when you go down, it's called, the building was called the White Square, I believe it was.
Oh, nice.
Down, if you go into the tunnels there, or if you go down to the basement, which lends up to, the different tunnels that they connected within the certain buildings down there, because, they were connecting businesses, so it's easier to move stock, one way or the other. Well, you could see the actual walkways of the way the park used to be. There's remnants of it. But they're saying that it's pretty scary and nobody wants to let them go down there to go check it out. And I was
it's
like,
dangerous too.
Well, yeah,
sure.
Because you don't never know. I mean, the tunnels being there, you never know who's using them, or it's not that far off from Juarez.
Exactly.
So you don't want to run into some shit and be like, yo.
Honestly, I think I would rather see an apparition than somebody coming at me with a machete. No thanks. So.
One interrupt somebody's den.
Yeah. One's worse than the other, for sure. But so when you hear these things that Didi's talking about, since you said right now earlier, you're more on the scientific.
Yes.
Do you ever question and be like, how much bullshit is some of this stuff that people say? Or is it more just like you have to see to believe?
No, I don't question it because I need, I guess, further affirmation of things. Doesn't necessarily mean that I debunk it completely. That's not the case at all.
Okay.
I'm a firm believer in the universe, energies, things like that. I just human nature itself, you know what I mean? I mean, somebody that is a very dark, bad person, you can feel it. I feel it. So, I'm not going to sit here and say that I can read your cards like she does and I can tell you, what I can see, because that I do not have that. But I have the kind of the opposite of what she has, where I, obviously, I'm in mental health, so I see it in a different way. And a lot of times what I encounter in mental health is that a lot of the symptoms of like psychosis and a lot of trauma, things like that, really reflect a lot of what she talks about. Yes. It goes hand in hand. Yes. So because I've seen that, I very, very much believe in what she does and very, very much believe in what she says. Because like I said, I think I have to be universally open to a lot of different things in order to get better at what I do, in order to understand people and in order to understand anything, right? Because you never know, who am I to say aliens don't exist? Who am I to say, you're right, my boyfriend believes in Sasquatch. I'm like, you're nuts, but hey, I don't know, So who knows, you know what I mean? So I feel the more open-minded that you are, with that added, want, intent to want to learn more about it. Right. I think that's kind of the overall way that I approach these things versus saying, no, that's bullshit. That's not true.
Right.
I don't like that.
And the reason I asked, not that I'm picking, it's just that, it's generally, and like I said, Jules is one of them. He's like, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. Right. And anything anybody that tells me anything differently is fucking nuts. And I think that's what a lot of people nowadays is their mentality, is that unless they see it on YouTube or they see it on TikTok or fucking Instagram, it doesn't fucking exist.
But yet we're going to believe everything the news stations tell us.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. So you say your boyfriend believes in Sasquatch?
Yes, he does.
The blurry Sasquatch or the actual?
I'm not sure. I don't really try to dive into those conversations with him, because once he brings it up, I'm like, hey, let's go eat.
So next time, tell him, what if Sasquatch actually looks like that, all blurry and shit?
I know, right? And he has such great posture. I'm like, people don't even stand up like that.
Well, he's like a 9 foot tall fucking, what is he? I guess he's like a gorilla, like.
He's just a hairy man. I don't know.
I'm just a bushman. One of them.
Right?
He'll be one of those Anunnakis.
Oh yeah.
You see?
What if he's old tribe? Yeah.
Anunnakis.
The last of his.
That's some crazy shit.
What if gnomes weren't really that small? They were just
Right?
really giant.
Oh my god. So you said. So do you believe in aliens then? Since
I
you
do.
mentioned it.
I do.
Me too.
I believe that there's a lot of stuff out there that we obviously don't know. And I think it's amazing and I think it's awesome. Of course, it's scary. But I mean, how could you not want there to be something else? You know
Right.
what I
Yes,
mean?
please.
Like, exactly. Like, is this it? Is this it? Really?
Really, humanity was the one that made it through.
I know,
Americans are the
right?
top of the food chain. What? In the whole galaxy.
So
Exactly.
would you be scared of seeing an actual alien?
Yeah, because they
Why?
probe you in places.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
No, they only probe like
Look,
hillbillies.
I'm
You're
not
good.
down. I'm not
You're
down to
good.
get probed. So
No, you're not hillbilly-ish, so you're straight though. You're good.
I'd be like that one hippie character in was it Independence Day?
Oh,
You know
Quaid?
which one?
Randy
She's
Quaid?
she's holding the sign. She's like aliens, and like bang, you get zapped.
no. Ever since I saw that part, remember that part in Signs when the kids are having the birthday party and they're talking in some foreign language or whatever, and then they're all focusing the camera out, and then this alien just walks over. Like,
Yeah.
I about died. That part was just too scary. I was like, what the heck was that?
That was
No.
a great movie.
That was
Yeah,
yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
I swear my daughter is that little girl. Everywhere she goes, she leaves water everywhere.
Water.
The water. It's the same water bottles, and they're uncapped. And they're all about a half to a third full.
It's because it's got backwash. She
It's
can't
like,
finish.
dude, what
I know,
the
right?
fuck?
No.
Everywhere.
She's
There's fucking everywhere.
She's planning for the invasion. Okay?
Yeah, yes. And I'm the wrong one. I
I say
can't
that
swing
too.
a bat.
I look around and I've got all these mason jars of water, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm Signs.
I believe more in the zombie apocalypse. So we've got a bug out bag and we've got our firearms ready to go. We're good.
Really? You guys got a whole bug out bag? Oh shit! You guys.
He got me a fire starting kit.
Oh, so a little wick and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, you got
like-
rations and all
I was
that.
like, this is exciting. Yeah.
Dude,
So we're ready for that.
How
And Jeep life.
how cute! You think that's cute?
Isn't that romantic?
Adorable. It is so romantic.
That's a little
He
bonkers
wants
to some people.
Well, he wants to spend the rest of the dying world
I got
with
wool
her.
socks too. So
Oh,
yeah. I wasn't sure what that was for, but
So
apparently
if-
you have to take care of your feet.
If there is a zombie apocalypse, would
Yeah.
you be down to fight back?
Well, this is the conversation that him and I have. We have it often, sadly enough, right? But we do. Where I tell him that, after reading the actual World War Z book,
Okay.
right? The book, not the movie. The movie sucked balls compared to the book, right?
Okay.
But after reading the book, that kind of told me, why bother? Honestly, why bother? I think you're better off getting your brain sucked out by a zombie than actually trying to live that out.
Right.
Going through all of the horrible stuff that's going to happen out in the aftermath.
Right.
So I tell him, look, I want to tap out, and he just won't let me. So
Dude, Didi?
I am in. I think I would try to keep my dogs safe. I don't have a bug out bag, but I do have extra dog food constantly
Just in
and
case.
wipes. I do, and treats. Like I have stuff for them, extra meds, everything for
Right.
them. But yeah, I think at some point I would just kind of just take us
Just
out
give up?
because I had this wonderful social studies teacher. And he had a humanities class, and we were just talking about this, especially with all the government development situations out in the Middle East, like what would happen if a nuclear bomb would hit.
Right.
And pretty much all of El Paso would be wiped if they hit Fort Bliss, all the way to Las Cruces. So if you were to survive, you still have to deal with the nuclear winter and the uninhabitable areas.
Right.
And so we also discussed zombie apocalypse and things like that. How could you really survive long term, and you want to band together with other humans, but then humans want to fight. And he had these really cool social experiments where each of us took on a role, and I think I took on the role, like we just pulled like index cards and we were like a character, and one was a teacher, one was a kid, one was a priest, one was a handyman, one was exactly.
You don't want to get those two together. Those two do
Right,
not go
exactly,
together.
right. And I drew the priest card or something because that's who I was going to be, whatever. And we all kind of had to act out. There was like a bomb shelter, but somebody had to be left out. Two people
shit.
had to be left out, and we all had to vote on who. And they got rid of the priest.
Yep. There's no room for, there's no room
Just
for
teach us
religion.
the prayers, we're done. Like, they needed to keep the kids and the pregnant woman, and they needed to, the gardener or something like that. Like, and I had to be okay with that. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm just going to pray. And, and I couldn't commit suicide because I was a priest. Like, I was like, okay, I'm going to sit here. And like, I guess that put it in perspective for me as well. Like, you're right. I think I would, even if I was given the chance, if there was somebody else that could survive in a shelter, in a bomb shelter or something, I would probably stay out.
You'd
I would
sacrifice yourself?
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it a sacrifice. It's just, I guess, I don't know.
Because you're not worthy, or what?
It's not that. It's just, it's a compassion, especially like I've lived a really good life. I'm all right.
But you still got more to go.
In a world that's dying?
Yeah, no
But
thanks.
You still have a fighting chance.
And then I'd have to be cooped up with all those people in a small space.
That's
I don't think
disgusting.
so.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah, you don't wanna be next to a
Yeah, it
priest.
would almost be rather dead.
And then we think that the zombies are going to be what's scary. No,
humans.
it's going to be
Humans.
It's going to be the humans. It's going to
all
be
of
the
the
humans.
zombie movies that I have watched, the humans are just so much worse.
Yeah, so that's not good.
Yeah, no, because I've had the same conversation. Oh, well, when the Fear or the Walking Dead started.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
My old lady and I would sit down and watch it, and she's like, you know what? They come, I'm just like, fuck it, I'm done. Just fucking take me. I was like, dude, the fuck, how are you just gonna give up right away?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would want to, shoot off my weapon every now and then, get a
Yeah.
few down first. But after a while, that would kind of get boring. And
Oh,
I'd be
no,
like,
she's-
yeah,
You're gonna run out of
No,
ammo.
she said she's
Yeah.
just done. She just I ain't gonna
Like this
shoot.
be
Just
like-
they see one going, just fuck it. Just gonna throw herself down. That she didn't even say I'm gonna throw myself down and you guys run. She said no, I'm going down. She said we're going down. I
Oh.
was like, the fuck we are.
Wow.
The fuck we are. I'm gonna take you out first. I'm gonna show these guys I mean business.
right?
Out in front.
So going back on topic.
yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, this is the way we always. This is the
Yes,
way we've
this
always
is the way
been.
it
We
goes.
always veer off ways. But when it came to aliens, I know I was talking
Yeah.
to a few of my friends when the government finally started releasing the little videos to acknowledge that it was like maybe there is something, and then they still didn't even call them aliens. They called them, what were they called? They're called non-Earth beings is what they related to. I was like, dude, it's just fucking call it. Just say
Right.
it. Say the
Yeah.
word.
You say the
Just say the fucking word. But no, then of
No,
course
they need aliens for the immigration.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
a
they're using
difference.
it for. They reserved that
Yeah.
for that.
So, but I was asking people, I was like, so, would you be scared? Why would you be scared? And my thought is, I think we'd be scared as a human race because of the way we treat other things that are below us. We're expecting them to treat us the same fucking way. And I was like, you know what? If we do, that's what we fucking kind of get. That's what we kind of fucking deserve because
Yeah.
we're not the kindest of fucking people. Like you said, we're fucking monsters, man.
Yeah. And I think because, like, kind of circling back to the developments across the world right now, it's prophesized on. I'm a TikTok nerd, so I'm on. I see everything Palestine and so much carnage, but I also see all of the psychics, and they have prophesized that we're going to be seeing a lot of weapons that we've never seen before. And I think that's why the government has decided to release this alien thing to help distract us, or at least help prepare us for what we are about to encounter with the situations and proceedings that are happening
Really?
in the world war kind of status of weapons.
Okay.
And they're saying that we're going to see weapons that we've never seen before.
So these AR-15s that everybody's saying that we need to ban, that's the least of our fucking worries.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
as above, so below. Like we're doing it on a microscopic level, and governments are doing it at a whole, a larger scale. So we are seeing a lot, and I think aliens, please come save us. Like if anyone's going to tell the government to stop, it's going to be a higher life
do
form.
you think we're guinea pigs for them, and they're like, you know what, we're gonna let them go to a certain place to right before they get to the brink of complete annihilation, and we'll just like, all right, look.
I tend to be a happy person. I have been diagnosed with with depressive disorder, but I tend to be a happy person. But I do think that somewhere along the line, humans were some type of hybrid that was created as a labor force and then just left. I don't know where humans got this idea. to destroy their own habitat or to be so harmful to their own habitat. Humans are the only living creatures on this planet that destroy their
own
surroundings, that destroy their homes. That
Right.
we're the only ones that do that, and we have this greed. Some of that greed has been seen in some in some species like monkeys and stuff. They kind of have their tribes, and
Yeah.
baboons are very territorial, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But that has more to do with supply and demand and their
Okay.
the food source and things like that.
Right.
But even so, they will control their population.
Mhm.
And that's why they take each other out. They'll take alphas out when they're starting to get weak because they need a strong alpha. But we humans just eat too much, spend too much and destroy our environment.
That's how
So-
consuming.
Yeah, so I don't know where this, and that's the notion that keeps me thinking that something in the evolution of man dirtied our minds to it soiled us to think that was okay, or it's programmed in us. There's some type of fear or some type of belief that we don't belong here or somebody doesn't belong here.
Yeah.
It's just a notion that I just don't see in any other species.
Right. No, that's crazy. Yeah, because I've never seen a racist frog or something.
Right?
I've never seen some crazy shit.
Did you ever see
like
that documentary about that guy that fell in love with a little octopus?
What?
Oh my God, no.
I think it's on Netflix. You should Google it.
What is it?
So it was, I believe he was like what do you call those people? Those ocean
Deep sea
marine
divers?
biologist,
Oh,
a marine
okay.
biologist, and he was studying a certain type of species of octopus, and he fell in love with this little one. Like literally fell in love. Like it was his love story. This documentary. It was a little interesting, creepy, but worth the watch.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Does he? Never mind. I don't know. Do you remember the name of the?
I wish I did, but I don't. But it was really interesting.
It's not like Finding Nemo or something.
No. It was on Netflix.
untold
Hopefully
story.
it still is.
The untold story of Finding Nemo.
I think
adult version.
he was just so impressed with how smart, and how just amazing those creatures are that
Yeah.
he just fell in love with his work, and the documentary is all about that.
Really? Mm-hmm. Dude, people are wild.
Right.
People are some crazy people. So, do you guys believe in the afterlife?
Yes.
Yes.
So, you believe we go somewhere after this?
Well, energy can't be destroyed. So, yeah, our energy continues somewhere else.
Because I know one of the before I get to that, are you all religious?
I grew up religious.
No, I was
I
already,
cannot respectfully call myself
okay. No, but
Catholic
you don't.
anymore.
No, okay. Because the reason I ask is next to the Gateway Hotel, there's a little building right behind it. It's like 2 stores right to the west of it. And Art was saying that, well, actually Leon was saying that little place that they've gotten in there several times with their voice box, and every time they go in there, it's never the same person that's in there. It's always a different voice, and you'll never hear the same one over and over again. Oh, wow. So it's always different voices,
Oh,
different.
That's so interesting.
And he was saying it seems kind of like it's a subway for spirits, which kind of caught me like, what do you mean? And he was saying that, a lot of times, these spirits, sometimes you'll feel like kind of like a heavy load on your back, and they just hitch a ride to go to wherever. And
They attach themselves to moving energy.
so then they'll just let go and try to find, wherever they're at. And one of the things he was saying is that one of the spirits he was talking to, I don't remember if he gave me a name or not. He said that the angels lied, is what what this spirit had said. And he's like, well, what are you talking about? Because, well, the angels lied. They said I guess they don't know how long they've been there. And according to what he had gathered from the information, is that after he passed, because the guy wasn't from El Paso, because the guy, Leon or the crew even told him, hey, do you know where you're at? And he's, through the speaker box or the
Spirit box.
He's like, no, he's like, you're in El Paso, Texas. He's like, whoa, that's far. So the guy knows he's not where he's from.
Right.
And he says, well, what are you doing here? He's like, well, the angels lied. The angels said to wait, and they haven't come back. So the angels lied to us.
Wow.
And then last time he said he went like a few weeks later, and said person was not there. It was another person
Right.
speaking Spanish, and I was like,
How interesting.
yeah, it was like kind of creepy though, and
Right.
that's when I started kind of thinking that for somebody who isn't, I guess, religious or believes in that, the
Right.
fact that they're talking angels and not so much demons,
Right.
but angels themselves.
That could be one of two things. I think if I were to be receiving that message, if that was me doing that interview or whatnot, one, that it is an ancient spirit that actually heard the angels, or someone that was taught to wait for the angels, because that consciousness is now imprinted onto that energy.
Okay.
So just like there are certain religions that they believe they get all these riches when they die.
Right.
And so someone could be waiting, like legit, they believe that in their whole body.
Right.
And so if that's not true when they get there, or something, didn't make a complete connection, there's a mishap there, I could see where someone could be like, hey, I'm waiting here for them.
Right.
And these are the entities that need help transitioning to where they're supposed to be. So it's like a fragment of that entity,
Right.
of that energy, of that person. It's just a split consciousness that kind of got trapped, and it
Okay.
needs to move on.
So how do you help, or from what you've studied, from what you've known, from what you've practiced, like how do you help push somebody through?
So I don't know exactly how that works. I've been blessed to have spirit guides, and I give it to them.
Okay.
And I have selected this place near my home that is in it's like a terrain, just desert terrain, and it's in the middle. And there's this beautiful bright star that is up there half the year. And I just picture them and I send them there. And I ask them to wait there for my spirit guides to reach them, or they take them out and then they disperse of it wherever they need to be.
Okay.
I just kind of stay out of that. It's something that I could go into, but
Just rather not.
it's a whole lifestyle that it gets crazy. It's a vibe. Yeah. I just started this tattoo apprenticeship a couple years ago, and I'm up to here with figuring out what's going on.
Have you come across any dark entities?
Oh yeah.
'Cause I know you had mentioned last time we talked. You had mentioned the wolf that you had.
Oh yes, yeah. That I had
Yeah.
I had a shape-shifting grandmother.
Jesus Christ! Do you know the story about the shape-shifting
Yes, I
grandma?
remember this. Yes.
Yeah.
You weren't there. You weren't there.
I listened.
You listened. Okay.
I remember this.
What other evil entities have you come across that you feel you could? So I know one of the things people don't like to say is the names.
Yeah,
because people like to conjure.
I did a bit of a stint at this.
Just don't call out Captain Howdy, all right?
Oh shit!
I did a stint at this shop. I started working at this little strip shop, and when it's not a strip place, but it was a little strip mall kind of thing out in La Union. And it was I was painting. It was during COVID, and I was painting statues. I'm an artist as well, so I was painting and having a good time. And right next door, they opened up a little spiritual shop.
Okay.
And I walk in, and I was a little tripped out at everything that they had, but I had noticed a lot of Santa Muerte statues. It looked like, if you will, if you're familiar in going to these places, these botanicas, that you can tell if they're Christian or if they're Santa Muerte or what they are, if they're pagan in source. But usually, I mean, you know those vape shops that they just like buy the package and,
throw it out there.
and they just put everything out, right? That's kind of what it was. It was just like a
for all the
mishmash
Edgars.
of everything, and it had it had all
You
the
get your vapes and a cleansing at once.
exactly. It was kind of like that kind of vibe. It was giving that vibe, like they didn't know what they had, and
Right.
everything was kind of confused. And because Santa Muerte is so prominent on top of certain things, I had wanted to purchase some things, but I couldn't, because I'm like, is that for her, or is this an empty candle, or? And they found out that I did tarot, and so we were going to do a trial run of me reading tarot for them. And in short, they didn't know what they were doing. They were also performing trabajos of supposedly releasing demonic entities from people. So they have candles and pictures, and they have these those 5-gallon steel drums cut in half, and they would be like little hornos, and that's where you would affix all your candles, so that in case anything fell over or exploded, as some trabajos will do, they're contained. And there was a lot of disrespect for those trabajos of what I could see, even though I had not studied what this woman was studying. And apparently I had come in, it was 3 people. They were supposedly all cousins, but I'm assuming that they were all just united through the business.
Okay.
And the 2 women were united through maybe santeria.
Okay.
And one woman had quit, and her daughter was learning to read. Her daughter could read your eye retina. She would look into your eye and could tell things, and that she was taught by an elder.
Nothing sacred anymore.
I was about to say, I've never heard of that. That's some total recall shit.
I did meet this young lady, and she is a sensitive. Unfortunately, her powers are being manipulated by her mother, who left the dad and trying to hide the kids and needs the money. And so now this 16-year-old girl at the time is trying to come into her power that was bestowed upon her by like a great aunt that she describes. That they're assuming it's the great aunt, something like that. But it's apparently in her lineage. And this little girl was sensitive. I could tell that, but she was very confused. And the mom, I think something happened with Santa Muerte, but one time I was arriving to the building and I saw her standing. I saw Santa Muerte standing there. And I say this with all respect because I do have clients that I have been allowed to read and cleanse that worship her. It's not just the narcotraficantes. Like, it's not just that. She can provide a lot of prosperity for you in how she works. And she opened her cloak to me, and she showed me everything that she could give me if I followed her.
Right.
And I'm like, why are you inviting me? Why is this going on? But because I had been working in a shop that I didn't know that the 2 cousins were fighting because of her. And one of them was a devotee, the one that left, and the other one wasn't. And they were trying to take all of her statues out of there because I had brought it up to their attention. I'm like, if you don't want anyone here that devotes to her, then you don't need to be having her statues here. If you don't know what you're working with, don't sell it.
Right.
You're creating a lot of conflicting energies, especially if you're doing trabajos in the same building.
And trabajos are just
the witchcraft jobs, the candle work, the all
like
of that
exorcisms.
stuff. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Prosperity spells and things like that. A lot of herbal things. But as they were loading up these statues into this van, the 3rd member of this business group was bringing statues from Juarez. And that's how they had a bunch of cool statues. And they had a bunch of nice ones, the St. Michael and the St. Francis and all, the crosses. It was beautiful stuff. But in there was Santa Muerte. So he was loading all this up, and he was going to drive it a few hours out of town because they had sold them all off. And I remember he had loaded up the largest one, which was like a big 4-foot statue.
Okay.
And he closed the back door, and I was out there getting some sun. I wasn't at the Botanica that day. I was right next door painting, and I was outside, and I was saying, "Oh, hi, how are you?" And he closes the door. "Oh, we had to sell all those." And I swear I thought the tire popped. It was a loud explosion. And he opens the door to the van, and he looks, and that statue had exploded. She was lying down, and all the shorter ones were sitting up. They couldn't find her face.
What?
She was so upset. And then I get told that they went to see a brujo out in Juarez right after that. And I'm thinking, if you guys do trabajos, like, why are you outsourcing?
Outsourcing it.
Also, I'm right here, but they didn't ask me. And so I'm not the owner. I'm thinking they know what they're doing. And I'm like, I had been working with them for like a couple of weeks. I'm like, y'all don't know what you're doing.
That's a complete shit show.
Long story short, they do this cleansing of the shop. And when you open the front door, it's just like a long shop. You can see the back door straight through. And they start smudging, and I'm like, whoa, I'm not in place for you guys just to start disrupting whatever you think is in here. And I could legit see the shadows. If you do ghost hunting, some of this can, the shadows.
Shadow creatures, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm seeing this shadow creature. And they left one bowl of smudge unattended. That thing started sparking. And I had to stand outside, and they're laughing, and they're like, get out of here. I mean, just totally egging it on. I'm like, this is not a ritual. You guys are. So I go home, and I'm trying to lie down because I was just so exhausted after this couple of days with these people. And there's a shadow person in my home. And I hear a big, low, hello.
What?
And at the same time, I was doing...
I'm out.
Hello, goodbye.
See ya.
I was doing a private session, trabajo, that I had set up on an altar for a woman that had a medical abortion. And she was having me help her move her child over, right? Making sure that because she was really, really concerned about that. So I was about to get ready to open this like portal and tell my spirit guides to take this entity to the spot and all that. And I told this thing, I'm like, hey guys, I don't know what you're doing here, but I'm about to rock your world. So if you don't want to leave this plane, get the fuck out of my house. If not, you're going to get sent to oblivion. And I could see that shadow thing crawl out the window.
What?
And yeah, it was so creepy. I think that's the most creeped out I've ever been.
Dude, if the fucking fact that you heard hello,
it said
hello,
hello,
creep you the fuck out.
I know, a deep voice, hello, and I'm like, I was like in between, like, and I was in between sleep and my Johnny Cash. Oh my god, I miss my Johnny Cash. He was just staring at the doorway. And he didn't bark at it, which he was my guardian. He was like, what the fuck am I looking at?
He's like, who the fuck said hello?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like the worst part is that when you see things like that, that you don't really want to talk about them because you don't want people to think that you're crazy, because the self-doubt kind of sets in.
Yeah.
And it makes it really difficult to even believe what you just saw.
Right.
So it's a cycle of
It's a vicious
am I
cycle.
high? What the hell just happened?
I think that's the allure of these ghost tours, because I didn't know exactly what I was looking at until I started ghost hunting. And I was working with a group of people, and we were having like that dark hour. We were just sitting in the dark, and I would like, hey, I see something, and they're like, oh yeah, that's a ghost person. Or I would see things, I'm like, oh, everyone else saw that? Hell yeah. Hell
I'm not the only one now.
We all drank the Kool-Aid.
We're all
great. Yeah, it's comforting, I guess, especially when you're someone that sees that
Well, it's
stuff.
affirming.
Yeah.
It's affirming to be like, maybe I'm not fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Damn. Kimmie, have you had any encounters with dark entities?
Believe it or not, like I also saw a shadow person, and it sounds ridiculous coming out of my mouth, I respect hearing other people talk about it, but like I said, I'm a very logical person and I need more investigation. But because I saw what I saw, that's part of the reason why I'm so open-minded, and I have no idea what exactly happened or how it happened. I just remember that, so my house was built in 1939, right? I've lived in it
I recall this.
for a very long time. And I remember walking into my house and never feeling anything negative. I renovated it, made it all nice and pretty.
It is so cozy.
Yeah. And and it's again in Central. So, but I never really was afraid in my house. You know what I mean? And then for this period of 3 months, I call it like the crazy summer, right? Because it started in May, and just as soon as it started, it ended like in the end of July or beginning of August or something like that. And one night I was just laying in bed and I was watching Jimmy Fallon, right? And I had the remote control on top of my boobs, right? Because that's just what I do.
Naturally.
So I had the remote control on top of my boobs, and I'm just laying there watching this show, and I have a closet right in front of my bed, and it sounded like somebody took a baseball bat to my closet. I jumped out of bed, the remote flew. I was like, well, what was that? And I went up to the closet and I opened the closet door. Everything was in place and nothing had moved. But the sound, I'm not kidding, it sounded like somebody took a bat to the door. Nothing was broken, nothing. So I thought that was really weird. I kind of walked around the house, kind of checked to see what it was. Nothing. Well, ever since that happened, which I found out later in kind of researching what was happening in my house, is that when you hear a loud bang like that it is something as to like a porthole opening or something like that, right? Okay. Because as soon as that happened, the weirdest stuff started happening to me. Like at first it was just little simple things. Like I could never find my car keys, and then when I would find them, they would be in the weirdest places. Like I remember I lost my car keys once, and I was like just so upset. And I found them under the dryer. And the only reason I saw it was because the little Gold's Gym thing was sticking out.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, how in the world, like I have like where I hang
key
my
holder,
keys,
yeah.
you know? So it was in a completely opposite side of the house. I remember I used to smell things like, and they weren't bad smells. They were like little whiffs of like perfumes, which I thought was really weird as well. So one night I was with my ex-boyfriend at the time, and I'm in my bathtub, kind of chilling in my bathtub. And because this was the summer, I had the air conditioner on, and he wasn't going to come over to my house that night. We had just gotten off the phone. So I'm like, okay, so I'm just chilling in my bathtub. And then I hear my front door open, and it kind of made that suction sound.
Okay.
You know, when the air.
With the air, right.
Right. So at first I thought, oh, I guess he decided to come over. And I have wood floors. So again, I'm waiting to hear the sound, right?
Right.
I hear nothing. And I don't know what it was, but I just froze. And I'm there, you know, in the water, naked. I'm thinking, great, I'm going to die the way I lived, right? Naked all the time. But anyways, so I'm just laying there, and I'm like, I don't want to move because I don't want the water to make any noise. And I'm like, what was that?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of there, and it felt like it was forever, but it really wasn't. And I just got up, and I got brave, and I, you know, covered myself up, and I opened the door, and I go to the living room, and the door's wide open. So I kind of turn on the lights, walk around, nothing. I relock the door, deadbolt it, screen door, all of it. Go back, start getting dressed, and I hear it open again. And I'm like, what the hell was that? So I go back out there, and sure enough, it's open again. And I know I deadbolted that door. I know I did, right? So now I'm kind of afraid, right? So I call my ex-boyfriend up, and I'm like, look, dude, like there's something going on. And, you know, of course, he's just making me feel worse, telling me that I'm crazy and I'm stressed out, you know? And I'm like, I know what I felt. I know what I saw, right? So at that point, you know, coupled with all the other stuff that was kind of going on, there was at one point where one of my nail polishes was flung at me. I don't know, it came out of nowhere and it hit me in the ankle.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so things like that I was still telling myself, this isn't real, this can't be happening, right?
Right.
So finally, on that night, I kind of got creeped out. So I told him, you know what, I'm just going to go to your house. So I go into my bedroom, and I grab a backpack to kind of start putting stuff in. And I walk into my living room, and I have a glass door partition from my living room to my bedroom, where you can see the reflection of inside of my bedroom standing in front of my couch in my living room, right? So I'm putting all my stuff in my backpack in the couch, and I look up, and sure enough, the reflection inside of my bedroom, I see this dark figure, and it was a man, because it had broad shoulders, a head, like the shape was intact, and it was huge. It was like definitely 6 feet tall, right? And I had never experienced anything like that before in my life. And I just remember like just feeling cold and terrified. I just grabbed my bag, grabbed my keys, and I took off. And I didn't go back to my house for like 2 weeks.
Damn.
And it was, like I said, it was so weird. And about a couple weeks later, my grandfather had passed away, and my aunts were in town, and I let them stay at my house, but I didn't tell them anything.
Oh, that's fucked up.
I know, right?
That's so fucked up.
So I let them stay at my house, and I didn't say nothing, right?
Better you than me. That's
Yeah.
fucked up shit.
So
She did feel bad. She told me about
I did
it.
feel
Yeah,
bad.
she did.
I hope so.
So one of my aunts calls me up, and she's like, hey, I need to go to the mall to pick up some stuff, you know, for her son for the funeral and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, sure. So we're driving to the mall, and she tells me, hey, I have something to tell you, and I don't want you to get scared. As soon as she said that, though, the relief that I felt,
Right.
because I had been so used to, for the last couple of, you know, months, hearing my ex-boyfriend tell me that I'm crazy, I'm not seeing what I think I'm seeing.
Right.
Finally, affirmation,
Right.
right? And she tells me, you know, the stuff that they experienced while they were there, and I was like, oh my God, thank God, I'm not losing my mind. But the weird thing about it is that, like I said, as soon as it started, that's as quickly as it stopped. I still have no idea what it was, no idea why it left, no idea what it was about.
You had nobody
Never
go
again.
and try to like cleanse? You
She
didn't try
went.
to go?
She went to like years later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
No, her house
I
is
got a
clean.
cat.
No?
That's when I got a cat.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't have any animals. I didn't have any animals at that point,
Right.
and that's when I thought, you know what? I think having some cats might help. You know, because they feel shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do.
Really?
Yeah.
I hate cats. Well, I'm allergic to cats.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's why I was like, that's why I hate cats. They're like
So,
the
but yeah,
devils.
I got the cats, and then I think a couple of years later, or a little longer than that. But remember, you were in the garage, and you got all.
Yeah, there was something in your garage.
What?
Yeah.
Something.
I have a detached garage, as
Okay.
many of the homes in
Right.
Central do.
Right.
And I was telling her that, so the electricity is not connected out to the garage.
Okay.
It's not. But for the last, I think like a couple of days, the light was on in the garage, and I'd go out there thinking, oh, and I'd be glad, right? Because I was like, oh, maybe I
That's
have
dope.
electricity now, right? So I'd kind of
magically came out of nowhere.
Yeah. So I'd go out there and I'd look and I'd be like, what? I would switch on the light and it would not turn on. But then I would go back inside of the house and I would look out the window and the light would be on. So it was confusing the hell out of me. So that's when I asked for her assistance.
When you did a remodeling to the house, did you strip it completely, or was it just?
Oh my gosh,
you
it
just
was
did it
amazing.
on top of it?
No, all of it.
Okay.
And I found a newspaper from like the 30s.
Okay.
The cars that they were selling, they had Mercuries and
Damn.
yeah, we found a lot of really cool shit.
Yeah, because I know one of the things that Leon was telling me, that there's a certain, especially back, in that area where you're at, Central, a lot of the materials that they used to make those homes, they would have like crystallized, I guess, there'd be like crystals within the actual mortar and within the actual concrete. And there's a lot of energy that I'm sure if you've heard this about energy being trapped into the actual
That makes sense.
buildings.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of these.
It's residual. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just residue.
And then the area that I live is by Memorial Park, right? So
Okay.
that's where all the copper mine stuff was and all
Yes.
that. So, I mean, I've heard a lot of crazy stories about a lot of the properties around those
Absolutely.
areas. So that makes sense.
Has anybody else, have you asked anybody in your area if they've seen that same?
So my neighbor, she was this elderly lady that lived next door to me for quite some time, but she's moved away since then. But I remember I didn't come out and ask her like a weirdo, right? Like, hey, do you see dark figures? And I wasn't going to do that. You know
You
what
want
I
to
mean?
stay in my crib?
Yeah. But I remember just having a casual conversation with her and, asking her, because she used to have a little chihuahua. His name was Pepe. And I used to hate Pepe because he would bark like crazy. But it kind of makes sense
He was
now,
warning
right?
you.
Because I would ask her, how do you like living in your house? She had lived there for like 20 years. And she started talking about how, the property itself was kind of, falling apart. So she was looking for a place to live.
Right.
But she would talk about how a lot of in the areas that people really wouldn't last in the houses. And she didn't get into great detail, but she just told me that, she kind of blamed it on the age of the house, but she would also make mention of, a lot of history is what she would call it.
Nice.
And I'm like, you're so like dark.
It's mysterious.
It's a lot of mystery. Yeah.
A lot of mystery.
So being a ghost hunter, Didi, I guess like a part-time ghost hunter.
Yeah, I haven't done it in a little while, but yes.
What places would you like to go to here in El Paso to definitely check out and either affirm or debunk?
I would like to visit El Paso High.
Okay.
But it's just, I don't want to go with a group because when I'm trying to go feel, I don't want to go feel everyone else's stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So it's I would like to go by myself, and I don't know if that's ever feasible.
That doesn't freak you out going in there on your own?
No.
Oh.
I mean, it's more intriguing than
that.
I guess because I guess because I know I'm not gonna go in overconfident that I'm untouchable or whatever because I have been scratched, but no, I'm more curious as to how they feel, and I just want to feel the emotion in there. Like, why are they still there?
Okay.
After so many years, and why was that room sealed up like that? Like, why? It's just so intriguing to me. Like, why? I used to work for Lowe's Home Improvement when it first came into El Paso.
Okay.
And off of Red Road, off of Rojas, if you recall, all that was like sand dunes back in the day. My grandpa used to take us out there and we would roll up and down the sand dunes. And when we built that, there was a lot of kids running around in the building.
That's scary.
There was a little girl in a pink dress that was like, we all saw her.
Oh, you mean ghost kids?
Ghost kids.
Oh, I thought you meant real kids. I was like, go ahead.
A fucking kindergarten.
But I would have liked to have visited that site before the building to find out if there was any missing children.
That's interesting. Yeah.
It's really creepy, interesting. So if you guys want to see, it's like a movie plot ready. So we were we had just opened I had come from the Walmart on Americas.
Okay.
And I was working in the hardware department there. And they had threatened to put me in the toy section, and I didn't want to go to the toy section because that was just babysitting. So I get hired for Lowe's. I get hired, more money, whatever. And we're having like our soft opening. I was there, rack set. I was doing the whole nine. It was awesome on the forklift all day. And there was this guy named David Renteria. And if you want to Google his name.
That's creepy.
Yeah, David Renteria was hired as the inside lawn and garden seasonal department manager. Very nice man. He would help me with my 5-gallon buckets of paint all the time. Really cool. And just before we had our grand opening, they demoted him to cart pusher, which I thought was like, that's a huge demotion. And he was not pissed off about it at all.
Yeah, he did something.
So
he definitely did
at this
something.
time, we are seeing these kids, and we would have like an all clear when we were about to lock up, especially with a soft opening and people not knowing what time they, hours or what the security was on.
Yeah.
I was in the paint department, and for most Lowe's, it's the first department as you come in. And so I remember I was like stocking stuff, and I could see people walk in. I could see the little girl running after them. These two men wearing denim. And they weren't wearing their red vests. So I thought it was, clients, customers.
Right.
So we could never find them. And for months, they were plagued with like the doorbells going off in the doorbell selections. Okay. Like the lights going on and off in the electrical department.
The kids playing.
Like just the kids playing, right? But I thought it was so creepy because that little girl it just stuck to me. So one night I am putting in carts with David, and he gets surrounded and he gets picked up. And I run inside and I tell my managers, hey, looks like a bunch of federal agents are picking up David.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the kids picked this motherfucker. I was like, okay.
David gets picked up. The kids are all ghost kids.
Right. That's what I was saying. I was like,
to spoil that plot, the kids are all ghost kids, but David gets picked up by these federal agents, and then he gets released, and then he wasn't at work for a couple of days, and then he gets picked up again. And this is the same time that the little girl went missing at the Walmart that I used to work at, and he had murdered that child.
Yo.
And I had seen a little girl follow him as well. Like, that's what I was seeing and encountering at that Lowe's. And like, I remember like stuff would fly off the shelves all the time. And so I would like to see that site, because I'm wondering like how that was tied. And that man had just gotten out of jail for hurting children. And he was convicted of her murder. Of a 5-year-old girl's murder that same summer.
And that little girl that you saw, was she around about that age?
She was around that age, yeah.
So is it possible that anything that he's done has been, I guess, attached to
following him?
Is that generally how it works?
It can work that way. I can't really speculate, because I wasn't at the time. I was desperately trying to not acknowledge my gifts. So I didn't want to read. I purposely did not read more into it. And that's why I think I would like to go back to that location when there was still a lot of loose sand. And I would like to go and sit there and see what else I could find and why those children were there.
Wow. So do you think that girl, or did you ever find out if that girl that went missing was wearing that colored dress that you see, that pink dress that you saw?
Not that I recall. She wasn't. No, but she was the same age and stature.
That's fucking wild. This is some crazy shit. I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight. I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight. Right now, I'm gonna show this to the kids. Like, you know what, kids? You sons of bitches were acting up today. It's time to pay the piper. So I know you're also a tarot reader, right?
Yes.
And I know we kind of mentioned this last time. What exactly is a tarot reader? How is that?
So tarot is a stack of cards that is used to divinate and tell your fortune or misfortune. Each tarot deck is different. The traditional tarot decks have about 78 cards. Every card has a meaning, and you kind of put the story together. As an intuitive or empathic reader, I collect people's energies and I put them through the cards, and I come up with answers and anecdotes and things to help.
So do people come up and say that I want to know A, B, C, and D, and that's how you get the answers? Or is it while doing the reading, you answer questions and figure it out? Both.
Sometimes people just want a general reading and see what the cards want to tell them if there's a message. There are times where, like in my baths that I download, I'm just like, I collect a bunch of messages, and when I start dropping cards for people, messages will just come out, and I'll get voices, I'll get clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient. These are all my 5 senses receiving information, whether it's a taste, a smell, a word. I read my book a lot. I have book guides that help to explain each card, and sometimes words will just jump out at me.
Okay. And those words that just jump out, that's congruent.
That's part
to
of the
whatever
message. Sometimes I have no idea what I'm telling the other person.
Mm-hmm.
The messages, I'm just relaying the messages, and then the other person's like freaking out, like, "How did you know that?" And I'm like, "It's just your spirit grandma's telling me all this stuff."
Oh shit, your spirit grandma. Do you have any history within your family of somebody being either in brujeria or anything like that?
Not that I know of. I know that my grandfather was part of a tribe, probably Tarahumara, and that's more tribal, not non-Christian, right? I know that my mom has dreams of babies. We both dream babies that are coming into our family before they're
born.
Yeah.
Damn.
And that's the extent of that.
Okay. What about you, Kimmie? Any of that?
Well, I feel like brujeria is such a broad term because my mother, for example, she was a clinical therapist, but yet she practiced herbology, crystals, things like that. Same thing with like my grandmother, you know, they had the hierbabuenas outside, and I believe that all of that is the same thing. You know what I mean? When you say brujeria, like to me, I kind of have to separate. Because if I know that somebody is using some type of dark art or something, like let's say, oh, my boyfriend cheated on me, make her hair fall out. I mean, I grow the fuck up. You know what I mean? I think that's just silly, you know. Yeah. But if you're using it in a sense of for some guidance in what you want to do, you know, we all have free will, and I believe that, you know, we make our choices. Mm-hmm. And I believe that what she does is a lot like what I do in kind of guiding people to take the next step into getting, you know, the things that they want or achieving the things that they want for their life. Yeah. The earth has a lot of amazing things for us. You know, I talk about the hierbas, right? Right. So like you have a stomach ache, there's something for that. You have a headache, there's something for that. You know what I mean? Believing in crystals, you know what I mean? You just talked about, you know, the foundation of a home being built like that. It holds on to energy. So I believe that I do also partake in kind of what she does, but I do it in a different way.
Yeah,
so to
it
speak.
sounds more scientific.
Right. And I think that's why I really enjoy listening to her part as well. Right. You know what I mean? And I like kind of incorporating her part into my part because I feel like the line is very thin with our belief systems. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I do feel that I do have some of that stuff in my family, but more towards like the herbs and the crystals and things like that. So
more towards a medicinal and actual therapeutic. All right. And it's just curious because that, like I said, that's one of the things, I mean, besides, you know, having great rapport with you guys and just being in awe of what you guys speak about, it's you know, I have no idea what I'm ever talking about. So when I hear you, I was like, God, like I'm taken back, and I actually I always learn shit when I talk to y'all, and I love it because it's, you know,
it's super cool hearing. And on that note, I love to hear Kimberly talk about the scientific part because it explains a lot of what I feel coming off of people. And like if I'm feeling a lot of chaotic energy, when I've read people that have multiple personalities or have some type of personality disorder, I can feel the chaos. And when she can diagnose them or say, hey, this is the clinical, what's going on, I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense, that energy. So I think they are very
So you're able to feel
parallel.
So say somebody identifies as having like or is clinically diagnosed as having 3 different personalities. Do you feel the 3 different energies?
Yeah. Well, just to clarify, that's called dissociative disorder.
Dissociative
disorder. It's no longer multiple personality.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That doesn't exist. Sorry, it's a pet peeve of mine.
Thank you. Thank you so
is that changed because of the they, them, that,
no,
all that shit? Or?
That was really non-existent. Multiple personality disorder is not a thing.
No.
Okay.
But
it doesn't. It's a term that's used, but you're right. It doesn't describe it properly.
Right. Okay. And what was the correct term again?
Dissociative disorder.
Yeah, multiple personalities is a lot easier.
Right. Yeah.
So it rolls off a lot better off the tongue.
It sounds a lot more fun, but it's still a chaotic energy.
So disassociate. You're disassociating. You're going somewhere else. So therefore, let's say I had trauma as a 5-year-old, right? And then
Right.
I'm a 30-year-old woman. And my habit when somebody yells at me, because that's kind of associated with the trauma that I had at 5 years old, right? Before something really bad happened to me. And then whenever somebody yells at me, I'm going to disassociate and I might go back to that 5-year-old little girl.
Okay.
It's not that I've changed my personality. It's
Right.
just I've disassociated to a time and a space that I've learned
Yeah.
to kind of deal with it.
Yes.
So that shows that it's normalized.
Yes.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah,
See,
and
I'm
I can
telling you.
feel the shifts, and so it's a chaotic shift in people where their energy is like kind of unstable.
Like
It goes
little
in different.
spikes.
Mhm.
Dude, I'm telling you, every time I talk to you, I learn some shit. every single time I talk to you guys. So I was hoping to maybe get a reading, but seeming how we're going early, an hour and a half already.
Oh,
Oh
goodness.
wow!
Yeah, I don't want to push it because, like I said, we can always go for like 3 hours every
Right,
fucking time.
absolutely.
If somebody wants to get a reading, or if somebody wants to get some kind of guidance about
Yeah.
something that they might be seeing, something they might be hearing, some
Absolutely.
random fucking dude saying hello.
Yeah.
Where could
Disembodied voices.
where can they reach you, or where can they get you a hold of
My
you?
Instagram and my Facebook are My Awesome Didi. MyAwesomeDidi. My Awesome Didi, both on Facebook and on Instagram.
There's a Facebook.
Right?
Damn, I don't
I
even
know, right?
Yeah, I still get people on my Facebook. Yeah, yeah.
I think we have a Facebook. I just
Yeah.
don't know how to.
I also have a
and
TikTok.
I'm the one in charge of it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
My Awesome
And-
Didi.
And TikTok also they get you guys. I think that's like the new thing, right? Where everybody
Yeah.
just messages through TikTok or
I don't know.
DMs or I don't know how
I
that
watch
shit
videos
works.
on TikTok.
I go down rabbit holes on TikTok.
I love it.
Son
I
of-
love it.
I lose like hours. My legs
That's
go
my
numb.
disassociation.
Yeah, my legs go numb. I'm like,
Lush it already.
no. It's just I'm in bed or I'm at work sitting down. I'm like, fuck. They're like, hey, you gotta go. Hold on.
Well, you know what though?
10
I've
minutes.
become a really good cook because of TikTok.
Really?
I've picked up some recipes and they're really, really easy and really, really good. And I'm pretty impressed with myself. Yeah.
I follow a lot
Prove
of cool
it.
doctors that like diagnose women's health and mental health issues, and puppies. I have puppies.
Puppies?
Yeah, and puppies.
That's good.
Um,
That's good.
And Kimmie, I don't know if you want to give out your if they ever. Want
I
to,
got nothing going on.
You got nothing going on.
No,
We'll go
trust
with
me,
that
you
then.
do not want to go where I
No,
work.
well, I know that like I said, since we've talked for fucking years now, right?
Yeah.
My old lady's like, dude, I want to make Kimmie her shit that she posts on this the funniest fucking shit. And I remember last time we had talking. Kimmie's like, yeah, I'm literally on there for like 4 fucking hours getting these fucking. I was like, no, she appreciates all that shit.
That's good. I'm
She's like-
really glad. You know, I deal with stuff. I deal with stress, anxiety with humor. I learned
Yeah.
that from my grandfather, and I feel that it's worked for me. So to me, I'll post ridiculous shit. I mean, if you want to follow me on Instagram, I don't even know what my Instagram is. Whatever. I'm sure you'll link me. But it's not the way it used to be. So no, I don't. I really don't.
It's not as crazy as it used to be.
I'm thinking maybe a little ASMR side hustle, perhaps. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll start that. I'm not,
ASMR, that's all that
Right?
sound shit, right?
Yeah. So no, but I don't got nothing else going on. I'm good.
Fair enough. Any last words before we head out?
Happy Halloween. I mean, have fun, enjoy the little goblins and geeks.
Geeks and goblins.
Absolutely, yeah.
Didi, any last words?
Happy Halloween and be grateful. Practice gratitude. If you're ever feeling too scared about life, just practice gratitude.
Can't say it any better than that. Make sure nobody's out there conjuring any negative shit.
Seriously.
No, we
need
have
them.
enough. We have enough.
Yeah, we have enough with the old guy in
The aliens
charge.
are watching.
Yes.
Sage your toxic ass.
Sage, yes.
Sage galore. So till next time, hopefully y'all come back. We'll do some tarot reading or do some other shit. Because I know. Oh well, I'll mention that right now later. Till next time, don't be an asshole. Don't be a dick. Happy Halloween, everybody. Enjoy it. Don't steal nobody's kids' candies and any of that shit. Because I know we used to be assholes that do that. But don't do that. Have a safe one. Be good. Deuces.